Hi, and welcome to our geography unit for term 4. Term 4 in geography is going to be learning all about bushfires. In science, we're going to go into learning a bit more about all natural disasters like earthquakes, tornadoes, things like that. But in our geography unit, we're really going to talk about the impact that bushfires has on Australia and our community and our life and our animals and the land and all of those different things, and really we're going deep into bushfires, making a safety plan and all sorts of things. But before I started, I think it's always good to figure out how much the students of stage 3 know about bushfires and also what they want to know, because I think it's helpful for the students to help guide our unit. And if you want to know about something in particular, I think it's great. And I think we'll certainly try to cover all of those things. So today's going to be all about introducing the topic of bushfires and then asking a whole bunch of questions about things that you want to know. Now, I don't particularly like those charts that teachers give you at the start of the term where it says KWL, what do I know? What do I want to know? What have I learned? Always find it really tricky. It's like, what do you mean? What do I want to know? I don't know. How do I know what anyway, it can get confusing. So what I like to do is I like to show you a few videos and a few pictures to get your brain going. And then sometimes you need to see pictures of things to realize what you want to learn about. But then we're also going to look at a bit of the inquiry-based learning, which talks about asking really good questions. So we're going to go into that, about how to ask really good questions to make sure that we get better answers. So what I want to do is I want to show you a video, but I realize now that I can't play videos through this thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm trying to share my screen a little bit differently and show you this video. It goes for about 2 minutes and it has not really been cut. I want to show you just the speed in which bushfires can take control over the land. Okay, let me see if I can figure this out. Share with sound. Okay, so this was taken from the dash cam of a fire truck, and it shows how quickly it can have an impact. So you can see here that the men in the truck are getting out, and the women are getting out as well, and they don't seem too concerned. 6:59 here. You can see down the bottom it says 6:59. Doesn't seem too concerned about it. It's starting to get a bit more worried here as we go. But really, this video is only going for about 30 seconds or so, and they weren't that worried at the start. Just look how quickly, this has not been sped up that much, how quickly this bushfire is going to take effect. So it started at 6:59. We're only at 7 o'clock now. So it's only been 50 seconds this video has been going for. So now the video has been going for 2 minutes. Now you can see by the wiper spray that they're still in the truck, those men and women. So this whole video only goes for about 3 minutes of time, and that's what it looked like. Now I'm going to go back to the start 3 minutes before. That's what it started like 3 minutes before, and that's how much damage the bushfire could do in that short amount of time. I think it's really important to show you that before we start asking questions, because sometimes you need to see what bushfires are like before you actually even have some of the questions that you have about them. So let's go back to our presentation. Yeah, I found that video quite overwhelming, and it seemed quite stressful just how quick it can go. So look at a couple more photos here from New South Wales. We have a picture up here of the top of a firefighter from the 2020 and 2019 fires. Fire here, I think this photo is here of the Blue Mountains, and over here we can see a koala in it's completely burnt down forest. Now I want you to think about, what do you already know and what do you want to know? Now, what I find, and this is my quote, is that if you ask good questions, you get good answers. But if you ask great questions, you get great answers. If you were interviewing the most interesting person in the world, but you just kept asking them about their favorite pizza flavors, you're not going to get the best answers out of that person. It doesn't matter how interesting they are. They could know everything about the universe. And if you just ask them, who's your favorite Ninja Turtle or whatever you want to ask them, they're not going to give you good answers. So the ability to ask really great questions is a very, very important skill. People think giving great answers is it's just as important to ask really great questions. So how do we do that? We shift just a little bit about the words that we use. And I've talked about this for the past 3 years. And since I was in the library with you guys, you'll probably remember we went through a lot of this together. So instead of asking what questions, sometimes you can ask why or how or what effect questions instead. So here we have what's called a question matrix, and it shows how you can start certain questions. So you can ask like, what is, what did, what can. Some of these questions some of them questions are great, right? But some of them are like, what is the biggest fire? Is that really what you want to know? That's the biggest thing you want to know. And we can move like, where are fires? Okay, fine. But you could probably make that a little bit of a better question. Which, who questions, okay, why and how. So I want you to look through these when you're thinking about questions to ask and figure out if some of them, if you can use a variety of different ones, rather than just asking what questions, what causes fires, where are fires, those sort of questions. Maybe we can start to move past that and start to experiment with different sorts of question starters, okay? So what might cause a fire in an area? Fine, that might be a good one. But how could we make that better? What causes fires? Okay, how we could make that a little bit better. Also, we're in stage 3, so we're talking not just about learning about bushfires, but what impact those bushfires have on our society, what the impact they have on the land, the people, the livestock, the animals, and also what impact our environment is in terms of climate change and things like that is having on them. So I want you to really think about that when you're asking questions, because like I said, it's a sign of intelligence to ask really good questions. So instead of why does Australia have so many bushfires, we could ask what measures could we be taking to reduce the effect that bushfires have on our country? Or even why is Australia seem to be having more violent bushfires in the last few years? Obviously, you were all aware of the bushfires that happened probably the end of 2019, when the sky for like a month or so was just smoke everywhere. We couldn't go outside, and we all remember how much the air was just affected for months and months. And those are probably one of the biggest bushfire seasons I've ever seen. But also asking really, really specific questions and also really broad questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a Google form, and it's going to have the question matrix at the top, and then it's going to have a whole list of things. And I want you to put in there as many questions as you want to start our unit, so I can put them all together and then see what do people want to know, how are we going to change our unit to adapt to what you guys all want to know about, and and also see how good your questioning is. So what is the main cause of bushfires, rather than like what causes bushfires, what percentage of things are caused by like natural causes or electrical fires or lightning or arson. For those of you who don't know what arson is when someone deliberately lights a fire. And you might want to know like what percentage of those are deliberately lit. And I think you'd be surprised how many there are. So I just want to sort of get you into the unit, sort of expose you to the fact that we're going to learn about bushfires all term, making a safety plan for what you could, like how you could make your own safety plan. We might even come up with a device that we can make for people's homes to try to make sure that we alert them earlier, or some system. We're going to try to come up with a lot of those things. We're going to try to do a lot of the more learning all about bushfires, so that when we get back to school, we can do some of those really good projects. We probably won't do them at home, but we're going to try and learn all the information, so when we get back to school, we can do some of those really cool activities. Okay. So yeah, trying to do the activity. Thanks for watching. Bye.